I
rogue
find
can
myself in
have
these
that fantasy,
situations
right?
all the time.
Yeah, and it's normally by your own fault. But yeah,
Yes. Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the feat mobile.
running like a place to be. Going that way.
Nice.
This is the feat from the Player's Handbook. You are exceptionally speedy and agile. You gain the following benefits. Your speed increases by 10 feet. When you use the dash action, difficult terrain doesn't cost you extra movement on that turn. And when you make a melee attack against a creature, you don't provoke opportunity attacks from that creature for the rest of the turn, whether or not you hit.
All right, I can see some builds wanting to take this.
I don't know about builds. Like, I don't know what specific build wants this if we're
All
not
right.
doing the White Room theory, but I can see this being a thing that people take because it's fun and having some value with it.
I was thinking specifically, we recently talked about the Scout Rogue. There could be fun to have with this.
We also talked about the tough heat recently, and the phrase that I think stuck out most to me was ghoulish overkill. And I do think speed has a similar thing. I do think there's an amount of speed that you need. I think normally it's around like a 60-foot fly speed. That is like enough. Now, scouts don't have a 60-foot fly speed, so this helps
Nope.
them get closer to that. So maybe this isn't quite ghoulish overkill. It is neat. I like
I don't
that.
I don't think it's ghoulish overkill at all because as a scout, especially if you're trying to do a skirmisher thing, you want to get in, hit, and get the hell out of there as far as you can, and you want to be able to get wherever on the map you need to go. Um, yeah,
It's nice that scouts, like rogues generally speaking, can take the dash action as a bonus action. So they
yeah,
can benefit from, they just basically always will ignore difficult terrain when they need to, right? So that's kind of neat. Difficult terrain doesn't come up that much, but when it does, this is, a little bit extra meaningful bonus. You just get to where you need to be. Um, this still, I think the most of the text here is the plus 10 speed. Sometimes you'll be in situations where you'll be like diving the back line and will want to hit things to not take the attacks of opportunity on the way there. So you're like swinging by, like, attack that person, run past them, attack this other person, run past them. You're like, just screaming through combat, running at somebody viciously. I'm not necessarily sold that that's coming up enough that this is worth a whole feat. Like, I think there are a lot of other feats that characters need, and I think there are a lot of other feats that offer a lot more options that will expand what your character is capable of doing. This is just, in some scenarios, you will be able to, be 10 feet closer to something you'd want. You'd be able to, like, some scenarios, you'll have a monster that you can exactly kite backwards perfectly without it ever touching you. I don't know if there's a lot of actionable, like, builds that feel that this is a major boon.
Also, all right, so disengaging.
Yeah.
Look, there's fun there. Like normally you disengage, that's your action, and you try and run. This is like free disengage, except that you get to stab him first and then run away.
Yeah. How often are you stabbing and running away if you're like if you're losing a fight and you just need to get out of there? Disengage is good enough, right? Like, it's the
Well, it's
same
the
thing. You
same
were gonna
thing,
kill it anyway.
but this time you get to stab it.
So you get that last laugh, the ha! You might have beaten me so badly out of run with my tail between my legs, but I got the last swinging, nerd.
That's you might get really lucky. Crit
Might.
stab,
If you're in the white
kill it.
room in
You don't.
scenario, if they have to ever dash to keep up with you, you could just keep doing that forever. Now, reality won't ever have that occur because there's like ranged options and objects that get in the way. But like, other party members that you probably care about keeping alive. Like, that extra attack doesn't seem particularly meaningful if you're retreating. Would you agree that, like, as far as making actionable differences, it isn't that different than just disengaging, right?
No, but well, I don't. I value that one last stab more than you do, I guess.
You also
that
value
makes
really, really tormenting people and letting them die a slow, painful death in heavy metal armor, agnostic of to its like functionality. So I agree that there's some flavor stuff that's fun.
just to
Is
be
it
clear,
that
Sam is talking about heat metal. This is not something I personally enjoy.
okay? Yeah, I am talking about heat metal. That's
Yes.
correct. You enjoy heat metal for this reason, is the
Okay.
torment that comes with it, right? That's fair to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that there's an amount of that in the sort of like sticking it to him whenever you stab at somebody as you're trying to run away from them. If you're trying to retreat from them, that just isn't. That probably means the stab isn't the difference between you killing them or not, right?
This is see, I can't believe we're having this argument because usually it's me saying, "All right, well, I don't care about blowing this action, whatever," and you say, "Oh, come on, you don't want to use your features with every chance you get." This is, I'm saying, a chance. If you need to disengage, you can still do something.
Yeah, that's okay. That is fair. This is you're still doing something if you're disengaging. You need to be in a situation where you are not intended to take damage and you want to be on a character that is squishy or at least again trying to avoid hits. So you're trying to like redirect targets to tanky members of your team. I agree, like
I find
Rogue can
myself in
have
these
that fantasy,
situations
right?
all the time.
Yeah, and it's normally by your own fault. But yeah,
Yes.
it helps you get out of them, and that is a really valuable little tool for some characters to have. I will agree with you there. In situations where you aren't trying to take damage, this seems fine. In
Yeah.
situations where you are on the full on retreat, it seems kind of pointless. But if you're that there's a middle ground between these between what I'm saying, this isn't valuable in full on retreat, and it's still having there will be encounters in combat sometimes we'll be engaged on you want to leave, you still want to stab it, and then they have to stay engaged with the paladin or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think like any character that's intending to take damage wants this?
No, probably not.
Yeah, I think that's where it's a lot lower. So I think this is a fairly narrow option. I think like monks
Yeah.
could consider it. I think rogues could consider it. It's
See,
still
monks
really
already get the increased speed.
expensive. Yeah. Now they get to really zoom if you want. Extra 10 feet. Again, the difference
Yeah,
between 30 and 40 is bigger than the difference between 40 and 50 and 50 and 60 and 60 and 70. So there are diminishing returns there, right?
it is going to be part of your the academic exercise of how fast you can go.
Yeah, you slide mobile on that build every time. So they got 10 extra feet, sure. Every dash is slightly better now. I don't hate this feat. This is like a really fair feat to me. I think if this were printed today, it'd probably have a +1 dex stable to it, and I'd be all for that. I really think this could use a +1 dex to make it like a little bit more appealing
Yeah.
to a wider array of characters. Going faster is fun, and like I would like more reason for my skirmishing fighters, my skirmishing rangers to maybe consider this. If you're attacking at range ever, I don't think you want to be anywhere near this. I think you need to be like specifically a melee range skirmisher that values ducking in and out of fights. That play pattern is not well supported. There's not like a good reason to do it outside of flavor. It's just like an alternative route you can take to just attacking things at range. There because range weapons are so good this edition, they add damage or mod to damage to hit and stuff. So like there's a lot not a great reason to have to endanger yourself. But if you want to jump through the extra hoops, like I often want to jump through the extra hoops, this could be part of that.
Yeah. I guess I agree with you. It's maybe a little narrower than I'm imagining, but I think there's fun to be had.
I definitely agree. I think if you take this, you won't necessarily be upset with it. I like that every element of it will come up at some point. The 10-foot speed always will matter. And that is to say, you can always see it working. The opportunity attacks will come up probably second to that. And then if you ever come into difficult terrain, all of a sudden you go, oh, I don't care. And
Yeah.
that's awesome, especially if you already have a bonus action dash. I think that makes this a solid little 3 to 5 feet. It's not going to be going on 95% of character sheets that are going for any kind of optimization, I don't think, unless you're like the White Room as fast as you can go build. But it is a neat little thing if you're just playing with a table of a bunch of friends and you're like, oh, I want to go fast. I want to do maybe you are playing a 2-weapon fighter ranger and you want to dive into things and like slash, just keep your scimitars going. Maybe you're playing a warlock that's objective is to dive into the back line and then explode in a hellish inferno. That could all be cool if you stable mobile to it, maybe.
Wow. All right. After that conversation, I was not expecting you to give it a 3 because I was planning to give it a 2. But yeah, I think there's fun to be had, but I don't think it's objectively good on most players.
Yeah, I still think the sheets that really would want this kind of need it. If you're
Yeah,
playing
that's true.
if you're playing that skirmisher archetype, not if you want to hit lots of things and like run around the battle map and be really inefficient, which you will be, this does let you do that. So,
Yeah.
without this, you're just gonna get your ass beat.
All right. Well, there you go. That was mobile. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Let us know what you think. I'm sure a lot of you have probably put this on your characters before. Let us know how it worked. What kind of characters did you use it on? Was it a lot of fun to play? Uh, any cool things you did with it that we didn't think of? Let us know. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.